everybody roll in, but we'll be starting in a second. Great. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thanks to everyone for joining today's webinar, introducing the Master's Degree of Management Programme from the University of Huddersfield with Coursera. My name is Nisha Khan. I'm an enrolment counsellor at Coursera. Joining me today is my fellow enrolment counsellor, Diana, who will be monitoring the live chat for your questions. We have Alessia, who will be joining us from marketing, who will be monitoring the slide. But I'm very excited to announce that we have Dr. Shelley Harrington joining us today from the University of Huddersfield. She's a course leader for the programme. We'll be doing a live interview with her to discuss about the master's degree, and we'll have a live Q&A where you can ask her questions. So please do make sure to label any questions directly for her so that she can answer these for you. But before we get started, I would love to cover the following topics. As you can see from the agenda slide, we'll be going over an overview of the master's degree of management. We'll touch upon the admissions requirement, the difference between standard and performance-based. We'll talk about tuition fees. We will talk about the application checklist, and then we'll get to the most exciting part, which is the live Q&A. So let's get started. Great. So a lot of people joining today's webinar may want to understand who the University of Huddersfield are. Let's explain that. So the University of Huddersfield are a public research university located in Huddersfield in West Yorkshire in England. I want to discuss about the significance of this amazing university and this programme. I want to showcase the array of accolades that you can see on the slide at the moment that highlight the university's commitment to excellence. Huddersfield Business School is marked by its exceptional quality, being an AACSB accreditation. This stands for the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business, and less than 6% of the world's business schools which offer business degree programs actually hold this business accreditation. Now, the university has also been recognised as the UK's top young university in the Times Higher Education rankings of 2024, and outstandingly, it's also been deemed as the Business School of the Year at the prestigious Times Higher Education of 2023, underscoring its commitment to business education. Now, for its exemplary educational efforts, the university has also been earned a 5-star rating from the QS Stars, and the University of Huddersfield staff are the top 3 in England for the proportion of staff who hold doctorates, hold higher degrees, and hold teaching qualifications. So you'll be learning from some of the best to become the best. Now, the University of Huddersfield are also the most improved UK university as per the 2025 QS World Rankings. So the striking combination of accolades paints a university that's truly dedicated in effecting further education excellence and making it a prominent choice for students all over the globe. And as you can see, Huddersfield have some amazing accolades and accomplishments, and they've decided to launch this brand new MSc program with Coursera. So I'd like to discuss what you can expect from the program. So let's talk about that in the next slide. Great. So as you can see on the slide, we're going to discuss a bit more about the MSc programme and what you can expect if you were to study on the Coursera platform. So the MSc Management Programme is designed specifically for online delivery and taught by some of the world-class faculty of award-winning academics and industry experts that teaches on campus at Huddersfield Business School. So as an online distance learning student on Coursera, you will receive the same standards in teaching excellence as Huddersfield on-campus students. There's no difference. And the university does not outsource any teaching, so you'll be taught by the same highly qualified academic team, which is fantastic to know. And let's talk about a typical day and what it might look like for you as a Coursera student. You'll log on to Coursera and you'll see the courses you registered for on your dashboard, and you'll notice that the program runs using a blend of pre-recorded video content, written study materials, and live sessions. Courses include supplementary readings, pre-recorded video lectures, assignments, and discussion forums to help you spark connections and build networks with your peers all over the globe. The commitment to studying is 12 to 18 hours of studying every week. And you can study in the mornings, the evenings, or the weekends. It's incredibly flexible for students who are also working full-time or have other commitments. As mentioned, there will be 2-hour live sessions available, and we'd advise learners to attend so you can benefit from the learning and the community. The live sessions will be held twice a week, every 4 weeks, to accommodate time zones and learner availability. But don't worry if you can't attend, they are recorded and they'll be listed on the resources tab under the Coursera platform, but I would highly recommend to attend these because there'll be fantastic live sessions where you can speak and learn a bit more about the degree. Now, this degree can only be studied over 2 years 24 months part-time and studied entirely online through the Coursera platform. The program has 7 modules, which is 20 credits each, and a 40-credit research project to complete. Each module is 12 weeks long, which would mean 10 weeks for a course, plus 2 weeks for assessments at the end. There are no examinations for this program, but there will be a split between multiple choice question tests and coursework, which will be mostly assignments. There will also be a reflective piece for one of the modules, but there will be no group work, and all work will be individually based upon the learner. To discuss this as well, this course is great for students who want to pursue a career in management. Maybe it's ideal for students who want to progress management into their workplace, or maybe just gain a better understanding of how businesses work. But this course should prepare you for a career in a wide variety of organizations and management or leadership roles. And to inform you, there are 3 intakes which we have, which are January, May, and September, and the next intake will be January in 2025. So if we go on to the next slide, we're going to discuss about admissions requirements and some questions that we received regarding this. So as you can see from the slide, we have standard and performance-based entry. Let's discuss about these both. So with regards to this program, there are 2 entrance pathways, as you can see, standard, direct entry, and performance-based entry. So the first requirement for standard is that learners must hold a Bachelor of Honours degree, which is an equivalency of a 2-2 or above here in the UK, or an international equivalent in any subject or discipline. Now, if you're unaware of what your qualification would translate to here in the UK, Diana will kindly drop in the link in the chat box below so you can double check what your equivalency would be from the country that you studied in. And feel free to just select your country from the drop-down menu on the link, and it should give you a good understanding as to what the qualification would translate to here in the UK. Applicants with other professional qualifications and/or experience will be considered on an individual basis. Now, the second requirement is about English language proficiency test. So if your first language is not English, you'll need to meet the minimum English language qualification. And if you have not studied in an English-speaking country in the past 2 years or have worked in English for over 18 months, you will need to provide an English language test. As you can see on the slide, the ones that are accepted are Duolingo and IELTS. If you go for an IELTS test, you would need at least a 6.0 overall with no band lower than a 5.5. And then for Duolingo, you need 105 overall in order to be successful. Now, I would recommend Duolingo as you can do the test online and you can gain the exam results within 24 to 48 hours, and it's a fraction of the cost of an IELTS. But just so that you are aware, Diana will list this into the chat box below for your reference so you can review this. The third requirement is references. You must provide either an academic or professional reference in your application. So if you've studied in the past 2 years, you can provide an academic reference, but if you're currently working, then a professional reference would be fantastic. Now, for students who don't hold a bachelor's degree or maybe have a lower class degree, such as a third, you can enroll via the performance-based entry route, as you can see on my screen. Now, a lot of students are unaware as to what this entrance route means, so I'd like to give a bit of context as to what this means. Now, the performance-based entry route can be seen as a stepping stone to the full MSc. It would require you successfully completing a 20-credit module that is already part of the curriculum, and this module will run for 12 weeks. And as I mentioned, is already part of the MSc program, so this is not a pre-sessional test or a pre-sessional exam. You'll complete one of the 3 possible courses depending on whether you are applying to join in January, May, or September. So, for example, if you are enrolling for January 2025, you will enroll for the Strategic Management module. And if you successfully pass, then you'll be able to join the full MSc in September 2025. Dr. Shelley Harrington, who's the module teacher for this module, she'll be able to explain this module in a bit more detail and depth a little later on in the webinar, which will be really exciting. But to apply for the PBA route, you will need to ensure you also meet the English language requirements, as mentioned, and provide a professional reference alongside your other documents in your application. We will discuss about what documents you need to apply with later on in the webinar, but if you have already applied, but you applied for standard direct entry and you've realised now that you might be better for performance-based, please don't worry, you don't need to reapply again. The University of Huddersfield will review your application and then just automatically assess you for performance-based. Great. If we go on to the next slide, I'd love to discuss about tuition fees for this program. So it's a really important topic, and I'd love to discuss this with you. So let's go through this together. So the total program fee for the Master's degree of Management program will cost 8,900 Great British pounds. In US dollars, that's roughly 11,575. And what does the cost of the online program include? So it would include your online lectures, seminars, and tutorials. You'll have access to your online library with the University of Huddersfield. You'll have access to their university's Learning, Innovation and Development Centre as well. Access to their enterprise team, student support and wellbeing services will be available, their union membership, course administration and graduation ceremony, including guest tickets and reception, but not including your gown hire and photography. Now, there's two ways of paying for this degree program. You can either pay for the course in full or you can pay for the course in installments. Now, if you decide that you wish to pay in installments, for example, for a 2-year course, you'll pay 25% on enrollment, 25% 5 months later, 25% at the start of year 2, and a final payment of 25% 5 months later. And each payment would be 2,225 Great British pounds, which would be roughly 2,888 US dollars at this moment in time. With regards to the payment, if you are paying in yearly installments, your tuition fee may increase in line with inflation, so please do be mindful. But if you've received an offer for the program, you will receive the next steps email from November 18th, where you will be able to register and pay for your module or for your degree program. For performance-based students, you'll need to pay £990 at enrollment, which is roughly 1,284 US dollars at time of enrollment, before the first module teaching starts. Once you've paid for that and you've studied it, the Central Applications Board has confirmed the credits for your module and you've successfully passed, you'll be invited to apply for the full course at the next available entry point, which would be for September 2025. Like I said, the module will then be considered as part of your full MSc application. You can then cover the remainder of your total program fees once you've had the confirmation you've passed the PBA module. And essentially, the £990 will be taken off the total amount you owe, and you can pay the remaining program fees in full or in installments. Now, just to inform you, the most convenient way to pay for your program fees is all online through the University of Huddersfield's online portal. They have a secure online payment facility that allows learners to make payments to them directly from any computer. Diana will drop this link into the chat box below so you can have that ready for once you get the email on November 18th. Please note, there are no additional costs or application fees required for this program. And I understand that learners are looking to understand what financial aid there might be. So Diana will also drop this into the chat box below so that you can review this from the website. Learners can get postgraduate loans, employer tuition reimbursement, and graduates from Huddersfield can get a 10% discount. Please note that FAFSA is not accepted for the online degree program. So from students who are based in America, I'm afraid to say that the FAFSA will not be accepted. But you can take a look at the Coursera funding options available and see if there are anything that is available for you. Diana will drop this into the chat box below for you to review as well. Thank you. Great. So let's talk about the application checklist. So applications are currently open for January 2025. So if you wish to apply for the Master's degree of Management or for the performance-based application route, then I'm going to talk to you a bit more about the documents you need in order to apply. And please note, all these documents are mandatory to apply for the standard direct entry route, and then we'll discuss the PBA in a second. So the following, you'll need a copy of your academic certificates. Translated copies will be needed. You'll need a copy of your full transcripts of your academic results, same with the translations. A copy of your English language certificates where applicable. You'll need a personal statement, no maximum limit. Diana will drop this into the chat box below as to what to write in your personal statement. She'll give you tips and guidelines directly from the University of Huddersfield. You'll need a copy of your ID. Now, this can be a passport or a driver's license. But you'll also need to provide a reference, as I mentioned, academic or professional. And if you've been advised to do so, then a copy of your resume or CV would be fantastic. Now, if you're unsure as to what your grades would be equivalent to here in the UK, as mentioned, Diana will drop this into the chat box below, but you can double check using this link to see what your qualification would be. And as discussed before, there's no application fee for this program. So students can only apply through the University of Huddersfield's online application portal. You just need to submit copies of your documents rather than the paper copy. And Diana will drop the link into the online portal in the chat box below. So if you wanted to apply today, then feel free to do so. A scanned image or a clear photograph should be more than sufficient for your documents. And please do make sure that you submit all your documents forward for the application. If you fail to submit all of these, then you will probably be asked to provide these directly to the University of Huddersfield. The deadline to apply for January 2025 is January 6th. So if we talk about the performance-based application route in the next slide. Fab. So like I said, for those who don't meet the standard direct entrance route, you can still go forward for the performance-based entrance route. Like I said, it's like a stepping stone into the full MSc, and it's a wonderful way to get into the program. And I'd love to provide you with a checklist so that you have all the information you need to successfully complete a performance-based application. As you can see on the slide, when you access the application portal, you should select postgraduate tour, part-time, and January 2025 if you wish to enroll for the strategic management module in January 2025, and then hopefully subsequently join in September 2025. Now, to apply as a performance-based student, you don't need to provide any transcripts or certificates. You just need to provide a personal statement that can demonstrate your suitability for the program, like the link that Diana dropped. Maybe have a look as to what to write and have some tips and guidelines. Maybe talk about why you'd be a good fit for the program, what your intentions are, motivations. You'll need a copy of your ID, English language test as well, if applicable. If you've been advised to do so, a copy of your CV, and then for reference, a professional reference will be more than applicable for yourself. But once you've submitted your application, it will be sent to the admissions committee at the University of Huddersfield. It takes approximately 3 weeks for them to review your application, and then they'll let you know if you have an offer, an unconditional or conditional, within email. So if we go on to the next slide, I love to discuss what happens after you submit your application. Just take a sneak peek as to what the process will be. So once you've submitted your application through the University of Huddersfield's online portal, you'll receive an email confirming that your application has been received. Do check your junk folder. Sometimes it does land into there. But the admissions committee will then review your application as mentioned. It takes approximately 3 weeks for them to review this. If they feel like they need further information, they will email you directly to ask for this. So if they're missing, your driver's license, your English language certificate, they will reach out to you. So you need to provide that. I would recommend to make sure that you put all your documents forward so you don't have to have this email. But hopefully once you do submit it, it will take approximately 3 weeks. Once your application has been reviewed, you will receive either a conditional offer or an unconditional offer. And offers will be sent out to students via email, and your offer letter will detail the next steps. So if you have a conditional offer, you will need to provide further evidence in order to change this to unconditional. So for example, if you've not been able to provide an English language test and you have a conditional offer pending on that, you will need to take a test like a Duolingo or an IELTS, or provide a reference from your work if you've been working in English or if you've studied in English in the past 2 years. So you need to provide those official results and certificates to dl-applications@hud.ac.uk. Now, if you receive an unconditional offer, you'll have to formally accept this by emailing the University of Huddersfield to say you accept. And this is the same for conditional. Please do accept your offer, whether it's conditional or unconditional, to accept it and let them know that either you are moving forward or that you will be providing your documents sooner. Once you've officially accepted it, you'll receive your next steps email from the university. It should be coming out on November 18th. And this will have information about your next steps and how to go through this successfully. So we'll have course joining information available via the My HUD application portal. prior to the start of your course, and the university will contact you closer to the start date in January with your username and password for MyHut. With that being said, you will then be able to register and pay for your module or for your degree program. You will be able to access a formal confirmation of acceptance letter from the portal, which will be fantastic. So if you need it for any official purposes, but you'll receive further details about the enrollment process approximately 1 month before the start of the course. You'll also be invited to complete an orientation course on the Coursera platform before the course starts. Now, this is a mandatory orientation onboarding module. On the Coursera platform, you won't be able to get access to your degree unless you complete this. So highly recommend to complete the orientation course. But it's a great source. So you have all the information about what you're going to be getting in the program, a bit more about policies, having a better understanding. And it will hold really valuable information regarding your course for you to read through before starting. So I would highly recommend to do so. Once you've completed all those steps, you'll be starting the course on January 13th of 2025, which is a very exciting time. But even more exciting, we've got to the live Q&A session with Dr. Shelley Harrington. So thank you so much for listening. But I'd love to introduce Dr. Shelley Harrington. Hello, so lovely to meet you. How are you?
Well, thank you, Nisha, and thank you for the lovely, introduction to the University of Huddersfield, and welcome everybody to the webinar. I think it would be a good time, wouldn't it, Nisha, to introduce myself to everybody
Absolutely.
who's on the webinar. So I want to, as we go through the webinar, let you know a bit more about our new MSc Management course. As Nisha said, our next cohort is due to start with us in January 2025. So my name is Dr. Shelley Harrington. I am the Director and Strategic Lead for Teaching and Learning at the School of Business, Education and Law here at Huddersfield University. I'm really excited that you have joined the webinar and you want to find out more about the course. And it's been a really exciting development for us as a university. I joined Huddersfield Business School about 8 years ago now. I have a real passion for higher education. At Huddersfield, I teach on our executive education programs. So I work really closely with local business owners. I also teach on our postgraduate master's courses and our undergraduate business management courses as well. I'm very busy. I'm trying to find new ways to bring innovation either into the classroom or on online delivery. I have been known quite recently to use Lego. It's something called Lego Serious Play, and we work with our business owners to stimulate lots of creativity in their ideas. My research interests are in strategic management. If any of you have seen my profile, you'll see that I have a really strong interest in high-performing firms. So I want to help organizations to recognize the importance of investing in people to achieve a competitive advantage. So if we think organizations, other competitors might be able to imitate your products, they might be able to undercut you on costs. But something that's really difficult to do is to try and replicate the unique culture an organization might have and the people within it. And that's something we cover on my module on the course. So I am the module leader, as Nisha said, for strategic management, which would be your first module in January. Joining me on setting up this course, we have our Director of Postgraduate Taught Programs, Dr. Hayley German. She's one of the module leaders as well on the course. We also have Dr. Gemma Bend, who is a senior lecturer within business management, and she looks after our undergraduate business management suite on campus. So you can see we've really brought in some very skilled and experienced academics for you to learn from. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions, Nisha, that you think our students have.
Amazing. Well, I'm super excited. I know we have a lot of questions. I can see them as well, and I'd love to go through these questions with you. But you made a fantastic point. You guys are some of the best, so I'm really excited for our learners to be learning from you guys. So let's get started, shall we? So if
Yeah.
we go on to the next slide. Thank you. So one of the questions that we had, and I'd love to hear, is why was this degree created, firstly, and what are the objectives for this master's degree?
Yeah, absolutely. Good starting question. So we've always had a strapline at the University of Huddersfield, which is to inspire global professionals. And we have been doing this very successfully at our campus, but we have also acknowledged in recent years that many students have multiple roles, multiple responsibilities. They've become much more technologically savvy. And so we've designed this MSc Management course by distance learning just for those types of students. So we really have aimed to provide you with an educational experience in management that is relevant to a 21st century business context and all the challenges that that brings, that can really boost your employability and your business acumen. So if you join us, you will be joining a global community of learners and professionals, and you'll really develop knowledge and transferable skills that will help you to excel in the modern workplace. So many of the students that we have on the course today are business owners, individuals with really busy jobs. And we even have someone who has a very young baby and wants to develop their career potential whilst juggling what is understandably a very busy home life. So it just shows that actually our ambition as to why we created this program is really working for our students, because they can make it fit around their life and their other responsibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing that resonates with a lot of learners that we've spoken with is that the degree is great for any industry, any discipline. It's a fantastic management degree that can get you roles or businesses or promotions in any sector. So I think that's another thing that students really, really like. And I know one thing that I loved about the degree program myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen that again with our current cohort who started with us in September, coming from lots of different backgrounds. And yeah, absolutely, Nisha, lots of different industry backgrounds. And it's great. Some of them are business owners. Some of them have worked for a long time in their careers. And when we have those live sessions that you spoke about, Nisha, all of that experience comes to life and we can have some really rich discussions.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I would highly encourage students to attend those live sessions. And of course, Huddersfield have been fantastic to accommodate learner time zones as well. So there will be different ones throughout the week so students can attend. But of course, we appreciate that students are busy and everyone has, personal lives, work lives. So if you can't attend, then do watch the recording. But like I said, highly recommend to attend those. Great. So if we go on to the second question. So this is a question that we get a lot, and I know there's been a fantastic journal article regarding this, but I'd love to hear from yourself. What are the main differences between an MSc in management and an MBA?
Okay, so I think the best way I can probably differentiate the two is that the MSc Management Programme, it's for those students who wish to pursue or progress a career in management, but they haven't studied business necessarily at undergraduate levels. So it offers that transition into management and leadership, or it helps you to develop in your existing role. Whereas if we think about typically an MBA, that would require you to already have quite extensive management experience before you can apply. So I think that's probably the key difference as to the level of experience you have, which then differentiates the two.
I know, absolutely. And I feel like the MSc in management gives you a lot more scope. There's a lot more variety. So totally agree and understand where you're coming from. But thank you. If we go on to the next question. So one of the questions that we get a lot, and I'd love to put this forward to you, is can you walk us through the curriculum offered within the degree program and explain how the practical skills are integrated into it?
Yes, absolutely. And we have spent a lot of time tailoring the curriculum to make sure that it's just the best offering that we can offer to students. So Nisha has already said that the curriculum spans 2 years. It's part of it's a part-time degree. And that during this time, you complete those 7 20-credit modules. And then you've got an extended research project. You might also know that as a dissertation. And that, in particular, that project is a real opportunity for you to base that on maybe the company you're currently working within, maybe the company you would really like to work within. It could be a nice talking point at maybe a future interview, for example. So in year one, there is a real emphasis on the fundamentals of management practice and theory. We look at responsible leadership. We really develop your understanding of research skills in preparation for that research project. In your second year, we really focus on your personal and your professional development. So you're almost shaping your career around the type of project that you want to do. And we would always advise students to complete a research project in an area that they're really interested in and they perhaps want to go into. So we have, I think it would be useful, Nisha, actually, I might read the module title name, but it really shows you that scope of what we offer. So we have fundamentals of management and fundamentals of leadership. We have strategic management, which I will tell you more about because that's my module. We have research methods, the global professional, which is all about intercultural workplaces and understanding, digital marketing strategy, and project management. And in particular, I think it's really important to highlight that project management module because when we look at all of the data as to what organizations are looking for from people they want to hire, project management skills are always in the top 3. So this is something which is becoming increasingly important for organizations. So if you can study a module on project management, learn what it takes to really successfully organize and run a project within your organization, you're going to impress the people that you might be applying for a job with because it's a great skill that's on their radar. So if you join us in January, your first module will be with me, and it will be on strategic management. So this is a module which will teach you all you need to know about how companies develop strategies and how they take action to remain competitive in, I'm sure we can all agree, quite increasingly difficult and challenging markets. So we will look at everything from internationalization strategies, so how a company decides which market it's going to enter next. We will look at organizational learning, and we will even touch upon the internal politics that exists when we're making strategy within organizations. All of our teaching materials are accessible. We have a team specifically that check that all our materials are accessible. Our learning methods and our assessments are varied. And even if we're covering theory, and there is, of course, theory throughout the curriculum, we will always focus on applying that theory. So helping you to develop your practical skills, which really gives you that opportunity to demonstrate your learning. So I hope that's given you an overview, Nisha, of what we offer.
That's fantastic. It makes me want to do the degree now. I love that. And I think a lot of students are really intrigued to know more about the strategic management module because it is the first module that's offered. But thank you so much for that thorough understanding. It's great to know that they can also practically apply it. So yeah, sounds amazing. Thank you so much. Let's go on to the next question. Thank you. So a lot of the questions regarding masters, of course, we have students coming from very busy backgrounds, busy personal lives. So they want to understand how assessments will be structured within the program and how can they find out how much each of these will affect their grades. So like in terms of grading, like is it 50%, 20%? And if so, how do they find out? Do they get any additional help? I think these are the most frequently asked kinds of questions that we get.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are incredibly proud of the supportive learning environment that we provide to our learners, whether that's on campus or through our distance learning course. There is no differentiation in the level of support that we provide. So in each of your modules, you will receive specific guidance relating to each assessment. You'll have the opportunity to take part in formative learning activities. So you'll be able to test your learning, but you'll also be able to gain feedback on your written work from your tutors, but also your peers that are on the course with you. And that's before you start working on your final assignment. So if you are someone who is not yet that comfortable with academic writing, We will support you through that process. We have a wonderful team of academic skills tutors. We have really supportive module tutors who will be there to answer any questions you might have on the assignment. Now, most of our modules will have some form of weekly assessments. More often than not, that's a multiple choice questions, which test your weekly learning. They keep you on track. You're being able to see if you've understood the content that you've just worked your way through. And then each module will have a larger piece of work. So all of your grades are taken into account into your overall degree award classification. So whenever you start a new module, you will be informed about the assessment from the start. So I think it's probably good for me to give an illustrative account of the assessment on strategic management, which is that first module. So 20% of your marks from that course are 4 multiple choice, let's call them mini exams, but they're just 4 multiple choice, test your own knowledge things that we'll do as we go through. And then the final 80% of the marks comes from a 2,500 word individual report. And that's based on a really exciting case study of Marvel and Disney. So Marvel and Disney is a great example of a strategic turnaround, and they've done amazing things to be one of the biggest companies in the world. And I really want students to understand the case study and then apply all of their learning from strategic management within that individual report. But there's lots of drop-ins that I would be hosting. There's opportunities to send your work for written comments, lots of support built into not only my module, but every module that you would do.
That's fantastic. And I think a few things, it's a really exciting topic, especially with from a business strategy point about Marvel and Disney. Totally understand about, how much they've risen over the past 10 years. So that's a really exciting point. And I think it's fantastic as well that you're offering help towards students. I know a lot of students were worried about the kind of help they would get in comparison to if they were on campus and in person, but from what you've mentioned, it seems like they would get more help doing it online. They can still have that personal element to it as well. So just to give some reassurance to students, if you did have any worries about this, hopefully this has answered all of your worries and concerns. But that is fantastic and absolutely sounds really, really exciting. So thank you so much. If we go on to the next slide. So the question that we get a lot is that how does this degree prepare students for challenges of the world of the modern business? And of course, modern business environment is constantly changing with growth of tech and AI and everything that's happening economically. So in your opinion, how would you feel like this degree would help students prepare that?
Yeah, another great question. And you're absolutely right, Nisha, that I think we are, organizations are operating in an incredibly volatile time, and there's lots of challenges that we can examine, but also learn from and look forward, in terms of innovation. And you mentioned AI there is something that will, I'm sure, crop up throughout the modules that you're doing. So our master's degree it's extremely versatile. So in terms of the career paths and outcomes that would be open to you at the end of the master's, and that's due to the broad range of business skills that you will acquire as you go through those modules that I have mentioned. So within your modules, you will cover the theory, you will consider its application to the modern workplace, and you will explore the role of technology and AI within managerial roles. So we will develop your critical thinking and writing skills so that you are able to recognize the impact of perhaps something like artificial intelligence, the good and the bad impact. It also prepares students for the challenges of the modern business environment because we have a really strong focus on you as a learner. So it's about your personal and your professional development as part of the program. So I think on the one hand, you have that understanding and really in-depth understanding of the challenges organizations are facing, lots of case studies, lots of real-world application, and then you are able to then apply that to your own learner experience. And if you're someone who is currently working, whatever it might be, you can draw on your own experience to add colour to perhaps the case studies and debates and discussions that we're having on the various modules.
That's a fantastic point. Thank you so much. I mean, for students who might want to use like personal experiences, will they be allowed to divulge that kind of data to the university, or do they need to like omit anything in particular, or will the University of Huddersfield be able to help them navigate that kind of data?
Yeah, so we'll, in most cases, we don't necessarily need you to name the company that you're working for.
Okay.
You might just draw on an experience that you've had. So, for example, one of the questions we might have on the strategic management module would be, have you ever been within a company where they've really encouraged training, development, and learning? So you would be able to talk around your experience. And yes, like in those live sessions, in the discussion boards, on Slack, which is a technology we use to build this community, you can share all of your experience. And I think that's a wonderful part of the global community that is on this distance learning course, is that actually we would strongly encourage you to talk to each other, learn from each other, and yeah, be quite open in those experiences that you've had. We would love to learn more about you.
That's fantastic. And you made a really good point because it's such a global, diverse, set of students, you will have that amazing diversity of being able to hear what other people are doing from all over the globe. And you mentioned a really good point about Slack. For students who may not know, Slack is a messaging tool that you can reach out to your lecturers, to your fellow peers. Great way to be able to link up with people, create channels based on things that you're learning about, especially about Marvel and Disney for the strategic management module. So yeah, fantastic points, and thank you so much for that. We'll go on to our last question, and thank you so much for answering all of these. I do appreciate it. My last question for yourself is, what advice would you give to prospective students who are wanting or considering applying for this program?
Good question, Nisha. And actually, I had a conversation just about 2 hours ago with a prospective student that wants to
Amazing.
join the course, who had this exact question. So it is a question that we get a lot. I would tell you the same as I told that student earlier, that I would really consider it to be an investment in your career. It's a professional, it's a competitively priced master's without the need for experience. So unlike the MBA that we've spoken about, the difference, you don't need necessarily an undergraduate degree, yet you will be obtaining a master's from an institution I am so proud to represent, that you will get a prestigious qualification from a Times Higher Education Business School. We are one of the top 6% of business schools globally, which we are super proud of. And that can really help you to progress in your management or your leadership role. I would also say that you're joining a global community of learners. We have lots of highly dedicated teaching staff. I work with a wonderful team who are very passionate about supporting students. There's no application fee. Nisha, you've gone through many of these details, that if you're not eligible, for example, for the MSc, we might be able to get you on, the PBA route. I think in terms of perhaps more general advice, if you do join us in January and you start engaging with your modules, I think it's about creating perhaps a routine that works for you. So you know what other commitments you have, you know what your working hours might be, or other responsibilities that you have. We've designed this course because we recognize that people have multiple roles and responsibilities. So I think you can create that way, that routine where it might be, it's a Wednesday night that actually I'm going to really focus on that week. And, where are those 12 to 18 hours going to come from? I think it's important to stay up to date with the material. And that's easy to do. We go at a really nice pace. The material is so well presented that it enables you to work through it at a pace that is appropriate for you. And you can be using those discussion boards and Slack across time zones. So we will be tapping into them and giving you responses, because I think to get the most out of this master's, you have to engage with us. We're there for support. So if you reach out to us and say, I've never written an academic essay. I don't know where to start. We can completely guide you in the right direction, look at drafts. We can link you up with our academic skills tutors. So it's probably about making the most of the resources that would be available to you as one of our students.
Well, you've sold it to me. So
There
thank
we
you
go.
so much for that. And it's really great and comforting to hear that even though the degree is held online through the Coursera platform, that you will still gain the same level of quality of teaching, the same kind of level of care and support. And I think a lot of students worry. So thank you so much for that reassurance, because I think a lot of students will now feel a lot more comfortable moving forward, knowing that they're going to get all this help, not just academically speaking, but like, to be there in terms of writing essays. Like for myself, I always find it difficult being going back into writing essays. So knowing that that kind of level of support is there for students, 100%, I'm sure that will be really reassuring. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Welcome.
So if we go on to the next slide, we're at the most important part. We're at the live Q&A. So as you can see here, if you have any questions or you want to book a meeting in, scan the QR code and you can schedule a telephone call with an enrollment counselor today. But let's go through these questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Shelley Harrington. I really do appreciate it. I'm just going to bring up the questions, and we have some great ones here. So I'm just going to pass one over to you. So with regards to this degree, we have a question from Tufik. He said, how can this master's degree improve careers of non-business graduates, for example, lawyers, engineers? This other question is, does this degree show it's online? And it's kind of a multiple question layer, so we can answer this together. But one says, do we attend a graduation ceremony upon completion? And do we join the University of Huddersfield alumni upon completion? So I was thinking, if you like, if you could take the first one about how this master's degree improves your careers of non-business graduates, and a bit more about how students from a non-business background can come into this degree, and maybe a bit more about the alumni. I can take the others if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Nisha. So I think that's a great question about what, if you're not coming from a business background.
Mm,
And I think first of all, I would say we cover a range of transferable skills on the course that you would be able to apply to lots of different industries and sectors. So even if you wanted to, remain in the legal sector, you do our MSc in management and then you go and apply it back in that sector. There are lots of transferable skills, things like project management, strategic management. They're all organizations. They all require people who are able to see what is coming up ahead of them and what's perhaps around the corner, and how do we create an agile business environment, for example. Now, alternatively, it might be that doing a master's with us almost takes you in a different career direction. So it might be that you undertake the MSc in management, and then let's say, for example, you really enjoy the module on project management or digital marketing strategy, and you think, actually, I would really like to explore a changing career or a different, work for a different part of the organization I'm with. So I think it doesn't matter what background you're coming from, there's lots of transferable skills, and all of the content that we look at throughout the MSc is applicable to any organization, because ultimately, if let's say, it's a legal firm, it's an organization and it's made up of people. And we're looking at, how do you manage people? How do you effectively manage change? All of those types of considerations. So I would say it's highly transferable in terms of where you can apply these skills that you develop. And we've seen with the cohort that are currently with us, they've come from really diverse backgrounds, not just from where they're appearing from in the world, but also the types of experience that they have. And that is providing some really fruitful discussions during those live sessions.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And to answer your other questions, Tufik, so firstly, you do not need a UK student visa to apply for this program. This degree is online entirely, so you can study it from anywhere around the world. And then also, with regards to the online aspect, it doesn't show that this is an online degree when you graduate. On your transcripts, on your certificate, it will just state that you have an MSc in Management from Huddersfield. And you can attend a graduation ceremony upon completion in the UK on campus. Depending on the UK weather, probably bring an umbrella. Would you agree with me, Dr. Shelley Harrington?
Yeah, fortunately so. Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately so, absolutely. But yeah, I hope that answers your questions. And then if we go on to the next question, um, so Jessica said, if I complete the program going the PBA route, what does the MSc in management translate to in the US towards continuing education if I choose to pursue a PhD? So I'm happy to answer this if you like, or would you like to take this?
No, I'm totally happy for you to answer that, Nisha. I was just
Amazing.
nodding along because it's super exciting that someone would want to do a PhD after this. That's great. Yeah.
Absolutely, of course. And so, just to inform everyone, this master's degree is a UK level 7 qualification. So, it's translated as a master's degree in the US, in Canada. So, if you wanted to pursue further education, like Shelley was saying, it's very exciting. And if you do want to go forward with a PhD, maybe have a look at Huddersfield as well. I mean, that would be great if you wanted to. But yeah, definitely great idea if you want to pursue further education. Um, there's a question from Ahmed, and I think this would be great for you, Shali. How is the program helping individuals who are maybe senior managers in their careers? Like what potentially would this program add to their skill sets for someone who's quite senior in their role already?
Yeah, that is a great question. And I think this is something that I see a lot with, for example, when I teach on the executive education programs, that often many of those individuals are senior leaders. And what I would say is, again, the people that are on our cohort at the moment, many of them are in senior leadership positions and they are responsible for things like, looking at the strategic direction within their company. So in terms of what this would offer you, so if you are in that senior management position as it currently stands, you will be able to think about how you drive that company forward. So how do you perhaps change the strategic vision or direction of the company, for example? So you might recognize that the company you're within is not quite doing something right in the area of organizational learning, for example. So we see lots of transferable knowledge where you can take learning from the course, apply it back to your organization and really drive change, which is wonderful. Now, again, through the individual research project that you do, if you are a senior manager, you can carve that research project to be on perhaps a real problem that your organization is facing. That could be a people management problem. It could be something like, there's a resistance to change perhaps within the organization. It could be about struggling to adopt artificial intelligence. I think I read yesterday that about 95% of artificial intelligence processes or change practices within organizations fail. So you could take a real world challenge that you're facing as a senior manager and really explore it in an in-depth way. So if anything, this is a course that is applicable and open to everybody, regardless of their level of experience. But if you have that senior leadership experience, then actually you can really extend on what you're learning and make a real difference within either your current organization or a future organization.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We have another question here from Lillian. She's asked, after 3 months of the strategic management module, if I qualify, why can't I join the May intake?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Was that why can't she join the May intake?
Yeah, so when they complete the strategic management module, students would be invited to come in for the September 2025 intake. She has asked the question of why can't she join the May intake of 2025?
Okay, now I think that would be, it's because of the ordering of our modules. So if you join on the strategic management, the next module you would then do is fundamentals of leadership. Whereas if you joined our, oh no, hang on. Sorry, this is what I'm trying to think this through in my head and get
That's
this.
okay.
So she would join the September intake, wouldn't she? Is that what
Yes, she would. September 2025, if she was successfully completing it for January
Yeah,
2025.
okay. So it's all to do with our wonderful team that have designed the way in which the modules all roll into each other, the way they're scaffolded to support your assignments and to support your understanding. So there would be, yes, that need to come in on the September intake. But I think that's probably a question, Nisha, that we can maybe take offline and get back to Lillian with a bit more concrete
Absolutely.
detail. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Lillian, if you'd like to book a meeting in with me, please feel free to scan the QR code and we can go through that and discuss it in a bit more depth. Um, so just to answer Sharita's question very quickly, no, the Coursera membership is actually completely different to the degree payment to the university. These two are separate payments. One you'll be paying to the University of Huddersfield directly for your degree, and the other one is just Coursera membership subscription that if you want to do additional certificates on the side on the Coursera platform. So if you decide that you want to do the degree, you do not need to pay for the Coursera subscription because you will be paying the University of Huddersfield. I just thought I'd quickly answer that so that students are aware. I do have a question here. Does the project management module include any certifications like a PMP?
No, it does not currently. No.
Fantastic, thank you. I have another question here. Once I applied, the evaluation of my credentials will let me know if my criteria matches. So if you do not have a bachelor's degree, you can go forward for the performance-based route. If you do have a bachelor's degree or an international equivalent, as the link that Diana has put in the chat box below, then you can apply as a standard student. And of course, if you don't meet the standard direct entry, then Huddersfield admissions team will review your application as a performance-based student. We do have a few questions regarding the length of the course. The length of the course is 2 years for the master's degree. It's part-time, it's 24 months. As Shelley was mentioning, it's 12 to 18 hours per week of studying, and you can do in the mornings, the evenings, or the weekends. But the performance-based module itself is only 3 months long, and then if you're successful, you'll be invited to the full MSc. There is one question I do have here. Is there any particular age range to enroll into the program, Shelley?
No, I think I would assume, you might be able to correct me here, Nisha, but I would assume there's probably a minimum age range of maybe 18 and above.
I would say 18 or above. Yes,
say 18 or
absolutely.
above. But no, we will take, yeah, any age. We're a really diverse learning community. So yes, no, there's no age range.
Fantastic. And I'll have one more question for you. This was in response to Tufek's original question. He wanted to understand a bit more about how to join the alumni. So once you've graduated from an MSc, is there any way to join the Huddersfield Alumni Board?
Yeah, so first of all, we always really encourage our alumni to get involved with things like curriculum design, perhaps coming to talk to our students either online or on campus. It's an automatic enrollment, so you'll become part of our alumni network. They will share events that are happening. They'll keep you up to date. So there's no extra action required, but we really do love it when our alumni are particularly proactive and enthusiastic. And actually, we can create opportunities for you to talk to our students, get involved with what we're doing. We also have a really big international team who, when they are in different parts of the world, they really love to meet up with our alumni, and they will go and visit where they are and find out about what they're doing. So yes, we're kind of forever part of a community once you join with us.
Amazing, thank you. I'm just going to squeeze in one or two more questions. So, Noordine has asked, if you live internationally, will people be informed regarding semester holidays? So will students get like an academic calendar really to know when they can take breaks?
Yeah, absolutely. So we give you all of the dates that you'll need, the schedule of when live sessions are happening, a schedule of when perhaps the university here in Huddersfield is closed for key holidays. That will all be provided to you. I think there's a diary function on Coursera which will help you. So yes, all dates are available, which really, again, because we recognize people are very busy and have multiple roles, you can plan your diary and work around those key dates. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. And just to answer all the other questions, yes, this degree is online. No, this is not taken on campus. It's not a hybrid degree either. It's completely entirely online and you study on the Coursera platform. And no, this program cannot finish in less than 24 months. It will be done in 2 years. And for students who want to speak about this online degree program, as mentioned, please feel free to scan the QR code, book a meeting. You can speak with me directly, and I'd be more than happy to go through these with you. Great. I think we are at time, so if we go on to the next slide. I just wanted to say thank you so much for answering all the questions, Shelley. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming and providing all your knowledge and your updates. It was great to hear more about the degree itself and the module, to the point where I'm even thinking about doing the degree myself. But thank you so much.
You are more than welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure to answer the questions. They were a great range of questions. Hopefully I will see some of you in January for the strategic management module. And if so, I really look forward to starting this really exciting journey with you. So thanks, everyone.
Amazing. And so before we wrap up, I'd encourage everyone who wants to connect with an enrollment team here at Coursera, please feel free to book a meeting with me. Diana will drop this into the chat box below. And anything you want to know more about the program, we can discuss over a telephone call. So please feel free to schedule a meeting with me using the link. But once again, thank you, Shelley, so much. Thank you to everyone for attending the webinar. So good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Bye, everyone.
Everyone.